I would like to tell you who is involved in this seminar. Anne Burke and myself, Tena Patten, are the joint programme directors for the DBA. And also in the room, we've got Wendy McGarvey, who is our who does all of the important work and keeps us on the straight and narrow in terms of getting all the paperwork and making sure that we're doing the right thing. And we've also got one of our current students doing the DBA, Jacqueline Bonfield, and she's going to talk to you later in the webinar about her experiences and her motivations. So for the purpose, I suppose, of today's session is really to tell you a bit about what we are trying to offer to the community, the academic community, with the ATU DBA. It's aimed at people in senior leadership positions in every sector, really. It's a professional doctorate, and the significance of that is that it's level 10, and it's the equivalent to a PhD. But I suppose the differentiator between it and a PhD is that it focuses very much on practice. So we like to, all our discussions are based around people's experiences in the workplace and the challenges that face senior leaders in today's business world. About the DBA itself, I mean, it's very academically rigorous. There's a lot of writing involved. It's very high standard. We've got a huge team of people supporting the DBA delivery in terms of visiting professors, guest lecturers, our own internal team. It's a flagship program at ATU. It's the first doctorate of its kind for this university, for this new university. And it's been, we're absolutely delighted with how it's gone so far. This is our second cohort that we're now recruiting for this January. And we've had lots of interest in it so far. And we've actually had a waiting list for entry for this cohort. So, we are delighted, and we hope that you will be inspired and, to inquire further about it. So as I said, it's for senior managers and professionals. So that's for people who are tackling real life issues in their workplace and want to accompany that with an academic, I suppose, rigor. For people who want to influence change, I mean, the business world is so fast paced at the moment that it's difficult for leaders to take time out and really think about, the strategic direction that they want their organizations to take. And this is a great opportunity for leaders to get together in a cohort based course, for want of a better word, to really discuss these kind of things. It's also, we've got a number of academics who want to further their own, I suppose, professional practice, and they want to bring theory into their practice and practice into their theory. Anne, over to you.
Hi everyone, as Tena introduced me, I'm the joint programme director along with Tena. So I'm just going to talk a little bit about the structure of the programme, our DBA offering. So it's 4 years. Now it's a minimum of 4 years, and that is, it's aimed for people who are in work. So we are taking into account that people who are doing this programme are also working, and it's structured around 2 main stages or phases. So the first phase is 2 years of thought modules. So those modules are delivered 3 modules per year, and they involve on-campus attendance and online. So what the commitment there is that participants would attend each module on campus for 3 days, and that 3 days is also scaffolded then by 2 half days online. So it's 4 days in total per module, and the modules run sequentially. So you would complete one module over a 12-week period, and then you would then take on the second module. So in a calendar year, you have 3 modules that you'll complete. Then in the second year, you complete another 3 modules, and that's you then having completed the thought modules And then you go on to the second stage, which is the actual carrying out the research on a particular organizational challenge. So your 2 years basically learning how to be a researcher and then carrying out the research. So it is very structured. The second phase, again, when you're actually carrying out the research, you produce 3 papers of publishable standard, which forms the main part of your overall dissertation. Then you complete the dissertation and you do the viva. So it's 4 years, and as I said, it is doable for people who are in full-time demanding jobs. Now, again, it is structured so that you are supported the whole way through. And Jackie, who was on this call, will also talk you through how it's working for her currently. Now, not to talk too much about what Jackie's going to talk about, but Jackie's at the end of the first 2 years and is about to move into the research phase. So if we go on there, so the modules are professional development, connecting theory and practice. So that is the first module. So that module there is basically that you're coming maybe from the workplace, and then how do you connect theory and practice? The second module then is looking at business theories and then how they can be applied into research and into organizational type problems. The third module gives you an overview of research, the different skills and methods that are needed in carrying out research. So that's really takes you to the end of the first year. Then in the second year, you take a deep dive then into quantitative approaches to research and then qualitative approaches to research. At the end of the second year, you then have your final research proposal, where you're then ready to launch into your research in year 3 and 4. Now, part of the research proposal as well is that you complete an ethics application and you look at what the overall impact of your research is going to be, on society and community in general. Now, throughout the 4 years, you will have support. So you'll be doing modules, you'll have support of your lecturers there. You'll have support from myself and Tena as the program directors. You'll also have Wendy as the executive education coordinator. And as this is a cohort-based program, you will be with maybe 12 to 15 other people within the class group. So everybody will be doing their own, looking at their own particular organizational challenge that they're going to be tackling as part of their research, but you will be able to bounce ideas off each other as well. So you have that peer mentoring throughout. Then at the end of year 1, a supervisor will be nominated to help with, you coming up with your overall proposal for the end of year 2. At the end of year 2, you get a second supervisor. So when you start your research at the beginning of year 3, you have a supervisory team of 2 that will also be helping you along that journey. So it's very structured. You will be given the schedule of the modules for the first 2 years up front when if you come onto the program, so you know exactly when you need to be available on campus for the 2 years. I suppose the other thing to mention about the attendance on campus is it's ATU, so we have 9 campuses between Letterkenny and Galway. So those modules in the current cohort, we moved the different modules around. So we had 1 or 2 modules in Donegal, we had modules in Sligo, and we had modules in Galway. So again, that's we will have that schedule for the January 26 cohort as to where the different modules will be. So the entry requirements, you need a master's degree in business or equivalent. So this is a doctorate in business administration. So you do need to have a strong academic underpinning in business before you start. So a master's degree and then a minimum of 5 years managerial experience, because this DBA, the research you're going to undertake, does have to have a practical contribution to business it doesn't necessarily have to be for profit. It can be for government or for the third sector, but it does have to have a very practical contribution, and you have to be in a position that you're able to take action and that you have the experience previously to be able to undertake that action. So we do have a deadline for this program of the 1st of December. So the process is you will need to fill out an online application, which includes a CV and a research proposal. And we also will need 2 references, ideally 1 academic and 1 business. So again, it's open now for the January 26th start. Our closing date, as I said, is the 1st of December. So the thing to do there will be to submit an expression of interest, which is at atu.ie/DBA. and that will then trigger Wendy to send you an application submission link. And myself and Tina are also available for one-to-one advisory discussions if you want to discuss anything around your application or proposal. The fees and resources. So again, the tuition fee, I think, is staying as the same as last time, which is excellent at €7,000 per year. So that will be for 4 years, and that obviously includes supervision, resources and support. And you will also have access to 9 campuses and online facilities. Now, I think I'm going to be handing over to Jackie, who's going to tell you from the real life perspective, and who, as I said, is in the middle of it, literally in the middle of it at the moment. So Jackie, over to you.
Thanks very much, Anne. So I got to make this kind of in my language as opposed to the fancy academic language that we have to do when we're doing our thesis and our work. But I suppose just to go back to why I actually joined initially, I've always had this thing in the back of my head that I'd like to do a PhD. And when I had looked at PhDs, I'd always felt that they didn't mean anything to me because I was a practicing CEO of a homeless charity. And when I looked at them, I just couldn't make it fit into my world. And then I had spotted the DBA online, and I thought, well, there's something I could relate to and possibly understand, which was going to be a big part of it for me. So that was my main motivation. The other motivation was it really had to fit in with my business world and the life I had to live, which was family and a lot of 24/7 for the work I was doing. So the 3 days per module fitted. I could kind of get my 3 days, I could go away and I could just focus on what I was doing. And then the half days was very doable from a work perspective. So my decision to join, I made it. I have never regretted it. I have felt that it has been challenging at times, but very much doable. There has to be a big commitment, but I suppose anybody who's going to go in for this has had that level of commitment for previous courses they've done. What I have found very different in this course, the big bonuses that I found, the one module per semester has been a huge benefit because you're really just studying one area. You're focusing on it. Everything you're going to look at is around that. And you can kind of take that away because it's a DBA, and anybody who's working in the real world, most of what you're learning, you can think, okay, well, that makes sense to that, or that makes sense to that. And it's like being able to base it on, you know, not reinventing the wheel, because there is the wheel that we were basing everything on beforehand. So I found that very helpful, that it was very practical in my head, because that's how I learn. Then as we moved through the modules, I suppose we had what's called a critical group. And basically, for me, it's a group of friends that we were put together the very first session, and they became the people who were to provide you support and to be positive critics. And I suppose to this 2 years down the road, I found that a huge benefit because we have a WhatsApp group, we meet each other, we do Zooms, and it's kind of somebody to bounce ideas off you. But what also has been different, my other learning experience, has been the support from the college. You feel more like a peer than a student in many ways. And all the lecturers are very approachable. You don't feel stupid asking a question. Anytime you send an email or make a call, you're always going to get a response back. You're not kind of left there hanging because time is precious, so you don't want to have to wait for a long time for a response. So that was very important too in my day-to-day, to get the response you need. I found on a practical level in my everyday, my language improved, my writing skills have improved, being able to add substance to, say, tenders I was submitting or documents I was submitting for review by boards of management, other people that I'd worked with. I kind of felt I was putting more substance in what I was writing because I could now back it up with theory. I wasn't overdoing the theory in what I was writing, but in my head, I could kind of explain this is where it's coming from. So I suppose my main takeaways, it's doable, but you have to have the commitment to do it. So I suppose if you're going to sign up, whether work is paying for it or you're paying for it yourself, and just one add in there, it is tax relief available on it at 20%. So it actually get €1,400 back once you're paying tax, which makes a difference. It's very enjoyable. I remember years ago when you're studying, every time you were sitting down, it's a long time since I started, but you'll be watching Coronation Street and feeling guilty you were watching television. I don't have that with this because I'm actually enjoying doing it, so I don't mind if I miss something on the telly, which means a lot. Now that we've done, I'm in the 6th module now. So it's very much about the proposal. And I can honestly say from when I started, I've always wanted to do something in charity sector, but I have changed and refocused and got down to something that I actually really want to do now. And it's made me, through that journey of the 2 years of concentrating on what I want to do the research in, it's made me want to do it as opposed to just doing it because I want to get the DBA, which in a way, when you kind of start off, you think, I'll pick something that's going to be doable, I'll get it, I'll just get the level 10. Now what I'm saying is I'm going to do this, I'm going to be able to add something to practice, hopefully add something to theory, and hopefully someone out there will actually come and approach me and say, could you give a talk? Would you give a program on this? We would like to use your framework to develop some work around the area. And I feel confident enough now that I'm not doing it just to get a piece of paper or stand up and get the fancy hat on my head. I'm actually doing it because people recognize me as an academic and a practical person who can add value to where I'm working in the area I like. I think that's kind of it.
Okay, thanks very much, Jackie. And it's great
Jackie.
to
That was
hear
brilliant. Thank you.
so many positives. So
I think at this stage, are we going to open the floor to questions from the audience or from the participants?
Yeah, I think so. I suppose maybe we might turn off the recording.
Yeah. Okay.
It's just so that people can ask questions without worrying about being on a recording that might be going out afterwards.
Eventually